Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Terminator Genisys. It's a movie starring, you'll never guess this, but Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the stars of a Terminator movie. I know, it's crazy, but it's true. It also has Amelia Clarke. Yes, that's right. Uh, you know, the Mother of Dragons is in this movie, as well as Jason Clarke, who is always fantastic, and Jai Courtney, who is not as obnoxious in this film as he is in most films. Like, I'm glad that they stopped trying to make Jai Courtney happen sometime after this, but he's not bad in this film. So, what I like about the Terminator movies is that when they want to, they can ignore whatever other Terminator movie they want to. So, I have enjoyed every single Terminator movie. I like Terminator 1. I enjoyed the hell out of Terminator 2. Terminator 3 was fantastic, and you're wrong if you don't think so. And then Terminator Salvation is, I think, top tier Terminator. And then Terminator Dark Fate is just absolutely amazing. And this is Terminator Genisys, and it is also absolutely awesome. And what's fun is that they are able to take whatever portions of the timelines they want to include to go forth. So, like Terminator Salvation kind of ignored some of the things that happened in some of the other Terminators. Terminator 3 was a continuation of came after Terminator 2, but Terminator Genisys kind of ignores that happening. And then Terminator Dark Fate brings another alternate timeline. So when you start messing with time travel, it can get really terrible or really good. And in this case, I think they do a good job of like, hey, we're going to keep this part, or this movie, and then this is going to be a different timeline than the other movie. And it's almost a multiverse, but in a better way, because that other timeline, cool, those things did happen, this timeline, these things happened. So, but they don't interact with one another. You know what I mean? Like, Terminator Salvation doesn't suddenly start impacting Terminator Dark Fate or Terminator Genisys or whatever else. Like, it is a continuous line, and I think that that's one of the things that a lot of time travel things, or ones that want to ignore but keep factoring in some other things for continuity purposes, I think that other movies mess that up. But the Terminator franchise, I think, has always done a good job of establishing what they're keeping, what they're not, in whatever movie they're going with. And I think that makes it really good and entertaining. And it's not quite a multiverse, because again, things don't cross over, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, the stakes don't matter. So I really enjoy that aspect of the Terminator movies. So in this one, we join John Connor and Reese at the conclusion of the war. He has some, he's been able to lead the humans, and they're getting ready, and then they go back in time. So, they set up, if you remember what happened in Terminator 1, about, Terminator comes back, like, I need your cars and your keys and your clothes, and then, Reese also lands there and has to steal the homeless guy's pants, and then, find him, and blah, 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 blah. So in this one, they established like, oh, hey, we're defeating the machines, great, okay, hey, I'm John Connor, I'm sending Jonathan Reese back in time. Cool. So he goes back in time, follows after that Terminator, and then things start to be different. So it's cool that they did such a good job of like getting better, I'm going to call it lighting and CGI for the transition back in time to match up with so much of Terminator 1 until they start to branch out. Because again, they acknowledge that 1 and 2 exist, but now that they've gone back, something has changed with them because of that. And I like that this movie, I kind of like that this movie doesn't explain exactly what happened or how the changes occurred. I like that. I'm sad because in the trivia for this movie, it was like, there was a trilogy greenlit for this movie before it even came out. And then it came out and it didn't do so good in the box office, so those were canceled. And I'm sad because I feel like it would have been really cool to see a trilogy based on this timeline. Also based on just Terminator movies so far, I don't know why they thought it would do enough to get a trilogy out of it, but I definitely would have watched that trilogy. And I also think it's funny that this movie, I think, cost like, what was it, like 155, and then made like 400 or so in the box office, or maybe it was like 600. Anywho, it made more than, I think, double its budget, and yet somehow that was considered a failure. And yet, movies that have been coming out recently, yeah, yep. I'm just gonna move on back to this movie. So, Jai Courtney again does a good job. Like, normally I find him very annoying, but in this case, I think that his his character and how he kind of acts, I think, works for this. Jason Clarke does a fantastic job of having the gravitas of somebody who, like, I could believe that people are following behind this guy, because Jason Clarke is not like an old, grizzled, like, you know, gray-haired, old military dude. But he commands an authority where I would believe that older, grizzly military dudes would follow him. Now, yes, he has, like, the benefit of, like, all the future knowledge or whatever that he's been having to help with this stuff, but he just has this confidence about him that I think works really well for the type of military leader that they would follow in this type of environment. So props to him. He does an excellent job. And, you know, Emilia Clarke is just fantastic. Like, she kicks ass, and like, the actress is amazing. I liked her in Game of Thrones up until season 8. You know how season 8 went. But she was badass, and so I think that they definitely chose the correct person for this badass role. So yeah, 100% definitely chose the right actress for this, and she kicks ass. And then I really, really, really liked what they did with Arnold in this movie. I like that they played into, like, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger has aged, and we're going to explain why. And I think they do a fantastic job of, in the scenes where they need to, having him de-aged, and in the scenes, like, where we need to sort of have him de-aged, like, that works. And then, like, all of it works every time Arnold's on screen. And I read the trivia that he basically got back to his, like, same kind of dimensions, or at least weight, that he had in, like, I think Terminator 3, which was roughly the same that he had in the Terminator movies. So, like, he may not have the exact, like, 20-year-old guy definition, but he's not, like, portly and old and, you know, just not believable as a fighting machine in this. Like, they do a good job. Well, props to him, for him, his nutritionist and his trainer, or maybe he's the trainer because he's fucking Mr. Universe, but whatever. Props to him for his dedication and getting himself in a fighting shape, because I think I remember seeing some like candid pictures of him when he was governor, or around that time frame, and, you know, getting back into this awesome shape where, like, I'm sure the costume department played a factor, but he looked excellent in this movie. It kind of made me think of, like, Live Free or Die Hard, the one with Justin Long, how, like, Bruce Willis was like 50 or 60 or something in that, and he was looking the best that he'd ever looked. So props to Arnold, props to, you know, Bruce Willis for that movie, but props to Arnold for this, and looking that good as he does. And he still has the good mannerisms, and he has that good development as the Terminator, I think, would, as a learning machine would. So I enjoyed the pacing of this. I enjoyed when they were fighting the Terminator or Terminators. I enjoyed the laser gun battles. I enjoyed the effects that they had. I enjoyed that Jai Courtney and you know, Emilia Clarke had to, like, hug it out naked for reasons. Like, just fantastic job all around with this movie. I enjoy Terminator fights, because the Terminators are always like these big, heavy things that just wail. And, like, it doesn't matter how strong you are or the Terminator is, like, when it wails on you, just in terms of physics, you're gonna go and land. And I like seeing the impact on the, like, metal things or on the cement to just really sell how heavy these things are, but without being like the lighter, like, jumpy, fly aspect of the kind of the Marvel style, like, super strength person. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are big, heavy, just boom, boom, choo, doo. Like, they got the weight behind them without the jumpy behind it. Fantastic. I love how Terminator fight scenes go, and how, you know, less strong characters are fighting the stronger characters, and it works for me in this movie, much like it has worked for me in all of the Terminator movies. So I highly recommend this Terminator movie. I think you should give it a shot, and yeah, I think it's great. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Bye!